What's good, y'all?
Hi, everybody.
We back.
Yeah.
We back with a vengeance.
Yeah, we back.
We the ones. We the best. We back.
We the ones. Ugh. Oh, don't look at my double chins.
Oh.
They're getting worse. The closer I get to 30, the bigger they're getting.
Yeah, when you're doing all that.
And also when I'm just not.
Anyway, welcome back, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful week.
Yeah, if there's a weird energy, it's because it's 9 p.m.
But you know what? We're doing this for you.
Not for us.
Not for us. For you. And also for us, but mostly for you. But mostly you.
Okay. I wonder how many of the last, 10 ringsides have in the first minute us singing. Specifically musical theater.
Do you think for a show called Ringside, which is, the implication is that we're talking lots of wrestling.
Which we do.
Do you think that anyone who would listen to this is perhaps turned off by the musical theater?
Yes.
Why?
Because not a lot of people like musical theater. And I don't know. Listen, we say it all the time. Wrestling is theater. The oldest, purest form of theater.
Yes. The only real true form of theater left.
Although, I mean, we might talk about this. We are going to talk about this later. Friday night's Smackdown did feel a little bit like musical theater.
There was pageantry. There was character work.
There was music.
Yeah,
that's why I said it.
Song.
It's one and the same. Yeah, so we've got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. Not just wrestling, but also partially wrestling.
Yeah, we have some stuff we wanna get to. So you know what, we're gonna keep things by the book today.
Let's go. First topic.
And just a little spoiler, if you thought we weren't talking musicals today, oh boy, are you wrong. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about something we did over the weekend, which I had never experienced this.
I've never experienced it either.
But Kendra was real excited because the circus came to town.
Yes. So Cirque du Soleil has a touring production called BAZARR. I don't know if it tours outside of the U.S., but it does tour inside of the U.S. And I know that because we went. They were in town. And they were actually at the same place that the Royal Rumble was held at Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg. And ever since I was a little kid, I really liked circuses from afar. I think I went to a circus once when I was younger. And I'm pretty sure that the only reason we got to go is because tickets were heavily discounted because it was the last run of that version of the circus because they still had animals in them. Uh-oh.
Big yikes.
Yeah, so we did that because it was cheap. But I showed you, we had this tape. It was a Disney sing-along songs. Let's Go to the Circus. It was one of our family's favorites. So I showed John and I was like, this is where it all fucking began. Anyway, so I'm very interested in Cirque. And there is a permanent Cirque du Soleil show in Disney Springs called Drawn to Life. I've never seen it. But every once in a while, every few months, I get really interested in it again. And I'm like, let me look it up. And then I see how expensive the tickets are. And I'm like, never mind. Not this time. But then I saw that they were close to town. Tickets aren't as bad. Accidentally turned it into a whole family function. I thought it was just going to be me and John on a cute little date night. And then I asked...
It was sort of still that. But it was just me, you, your mother, your brother, your father, your sister, and her fiance. So
yeah, it was a whole crew. And we're going to get into the actual show. But before that, there was a community yard sale in a really nice neighborhood in a town. And that started at 8. So I woke up at 5:30 a.m., did a bunch of yard sales, changed my pants in a restaurant bathroom from comfy to cute, and then went and saw Cirque du Soleil. I was so fucking tired. If we had seen anything else, I would have fallen asleep. But I was so excited for Cirque. I was talking about it all week. I was telling John, I was like, I'm so excited. I don't care if my family doesn't like it. I don't give a fuck, quite frankly, about them or their feelings in this moment because I get to see Cirque du Soleil.
Maybe that last part, but the rest of it, her being super excited during the week, it was all super cute. It was very adorable. I was very happy. And you know what? I like the show a hell of a whole lot too. I had no idea what to expect going in. But it was really beautiful. It's a really cool just combination of, traditional circus performing and like kind of what you'd think you'd see, the fire batons and the people doing the silks and clowns and juggling. But it was a really cool like incorporation of a lot of theatrical elements. So there's kind of a story going on. Still kind of trying to decipher that one. There's a lot of music. It felt almost like a rock show, like just like a music.
Yeah, it was like a music show with tricks in it.
So that was really cool. I will say, and this is not a criticism. In fact, it's probably a compliment. Some of the songs in the show, were so relaxing and peaceful that I did start like dozing off.
Damn.
A couple times. Only a couple times though.
Yeah. It's if you're interested in Cirque du Soleil, I highly recommend. Oh my god. I simply can't speak. If you're interested in Cirque du Soleil, I highly recommend looking up their YouTube channel because they post 60-minute videos. It's like compilations of all different shows because they've been around for a very long time, since the 70s. And they have
the
shows.
1970s, not the 1770s like one might think, like me.
You thought they were from the 17th?
Not the 1770s, but I thought they were like... they were older. If not
the 17th, then I guess the 18th.
Yeah. I guess that's as far back as...
1870s.
Yeah.
Because then otherwise it's the 1970s.
The 1470s.
Wow. It's a Renaissance troupe.
That's right.
I also did think that they were a little bit older than that, but they're not. They're also not French. They're Canadian. So I think they're French-Canadian. But anyway... they have shows all over the world, and it's cool because the shows kind of are themed depending on where they are. Like, I think they have, like, the music sound a little bit more localized for the shows that are, like, more permanent. BAZARR was, like, different because it was a touring show, and it was kind of about, like you mentioned after we saw it, it's kind of like connecting everyone through music. Did you hear that?
I did.
That was my stomach.
Clap one more. Oh,
I apologize.
Okay. You don't have to. We can leave it in.
You know what? Let's leave that one in because we're honest and natural.
We're not going to censor the body.
We're not going to censor my body. It wants to speak. Let it talk.
Exactly.
Anyway, but yeah, they have like 60 minutes. They have a bunch of them. If you are interested in Cirque and you're like, do I want to spend $120 on a ticket? I would look at that first to make sure you understand what you're in for. Because it is the circus. It's not like, I don't know, like a theme park. It reminds me of stuff that they used to do at Busch Gardens. Like aerial acrobatic stuff. Or like stuff that they do in the Lion King show at Animal Kingdom. It's not that. It's at times absurd and it's nothing like I've experienced before.
Yeah, and that's what I really, really enjoyed. So, I mean, I've talked about it before, theater performer and just a theater fan, right? So as I'm watching it, as I'm sitting there, like I'm watching it, and I had to keep reminding myself that, I'm not watching a play or a musical. Mm-hmm. I'm watching a circus performance. Mm-hmm. But it kept tripping me up because there's, like I said, there's like costumes, music. There's a little bit of a storyline going through, right? So I'm like watching it, and there's like, even I was doing this because I'm not used to it. But after a while, I stopped doing it because I was like, oh, this feels weird. You know, just you can take out your phone and, you know, take pictures.
Yeah.
No flash, no recordings. There's a couple times I saw the ushers and the people working the event. I saw the one lady from across the tent just booking it to someone.
Because people are still... We were damn 90 minutes into the show and people were still taking flash photography. I don't understand why.
What the fuck?
But also, we went to a matinee show.
Right.
And I will say there were a lot of...
Matinee crowds.
The elderly who maybe don't have the best grasp on how to turn off their flash.
Yeah.
But like, damn.
But yeah, I think the show itself was very beautiful. They talked about it a little bit in the limited dialogue that they have about how the drums bring people of the world together, and the percussion was like the main through line, kind of the heartbeat of the show, right? And it was cool because there were certain sections that you would hear like a steady beat going, and then all of a sudden you'd hear different percussive instruments from around the world. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And there was a lot of dancing in it, from, you know, kind of from ballet to hip hop. It was
Yeah,
really,
each
really
of the
cool.
dancers seemed to be like specialized in certain type of dancing. And I think they even had someone doing voguing up there.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool because that's like, it's not modern. It's modern in like the grand scheme of
The multiverse.
But it's not as maybe accepted as like a true form of like professional dance.
Right.
More so now than before, but it was just cool to see that on such a big stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's at least going, like, a lot of people are going to see that and kind of be exposed to it for the first time, right? But yeah, it was really, really cool. I really enjoyed it. It was nothing like I had ever seen. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of check out some more Cirque whenever we're able.
Love to like track down where all the Cirque shows are happening and just fly out and see them.
Go on tour with them.
I'll just hitch a ride. What could I do?
I don't know. I saw that they had a singer. They had a singer.
Yeah, at one point my sister leaned over and she's like, is someone singing this live? And I said, yeah.
It's me.
They are. It's John in the seat next to me. He won't shut the fuck up. The people behind us wouldn't shut the fuck up. Oh my God. They were talking the whole time about nothing and everything. It was like almost to the point where I had to like mentally like check my privilege and be like, is this person this man who wouldn't shut the fuck up, is she like blind or visually impaired? Because he was describing everything to her. Guess what? She wasn't. Because she was describing it right back. Oh my gosh, she's holding it with her toes now. Oh, look, now he has 6 juggling pins. We're all watching the same show.
Where I was, I could barely hear them.
I'm shocked because fuck, they were loud and they talked.
I heard them a couple times.
Time.
Yeah,
they talked the whole time. It was worse in the second half.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah,
but then again,
I mean, I think it's a bigger problem with just audience etiquette in general.
Yeah,
like across the board. I saw this TikTok that was talking about. I guess some studies showed that like some like 40-something% of the population would rather wait for movies to come out on streaming rather than go to the movies. It might even be a bigger number than that. It was some crazy high number.
Well,
but it was because of 2 things. One, just the cost to go to the movies is absolutely insane. But for me, I'm like, I don't mind if it's a movie I really, really want to see. I will pay the money. Mm-hmm. I usually don't get food or anything when I'm at a theater anyway. But like, if it's something I really want to see, I'll go to the movies, right? I cannot stand when there's people who are talking on their phones, fucking with their watches.
The watches kill me because it's like the phones, I think most people understand. The phone is like, if you're on your phone in a movie theater or any kind of theater for any kind of performance, that's more of an intentional, like, I'm gonna be an asshole right now and I don't really care who is affected by that. The watches are like, not thinking. It's like people just don't think about that.
Right.
But when I see a watch face appear in a dark room, I'm immediately like laser focused in. If you're texting on your phone in the movie theater, I'm reading your text messages from behind you. I mean, that's what's going to happen. You don't get the privacy now that you're being an asshole.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to react to your text live in your ear.
And again, I'm like, Cirque, I know I was saying before, it's like, it's a circus performance. And like, you know, at the circus, maybe people are used to
I was thinking maybe they don't think of it as like a production because it's not a play or a movie or a musical, but it's like there's still people on stage like doing stuff and it's rude to talk.
But like when you're in any sort of performance space and the lights go down, that's why they do it at theaters, that's why they do it at movie theaters, but they do it in dance halls and concert halls. The lights go down for a reason, so you can pay attention to the performers.
Yeah.
Not talk during the whole fucking thing.
Yeah,
Sorry. I know I'm sounding pretentious. Again, it's just a background thing.
That's not pretentious is the thing, though. It's just like, oh my God, my stomach is talking so much. It's just like being a decent, kind person.
Right.
It's like when you learn it in school, when the teacher's like, it's rude to look at your phone. I'm talking, so pay attention to me.
I used to have teachers in high school that would be like, whenever they would catch someone texting on the phone, they'd be like, put your phone away. I don't have my phone. Like, no one stares at their crotch and smiles. I used to have teachers that would say that.
That's a good one. That's funny.
But anyway.
But yeah. Cirque, a quick review of Cirque. I loved it. I'm really excited to see more Cirque productions. Or Cirque du Soleil. My sister was the only one pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah, we were all like, oh,
we all clowned her for it. And then at the beginning of the show, that's how the...
Wait. Did you say we clowned her for it?
All right. We got to move on. Enough of that.
Yes, moving right along. Hey, you know how I was saying at the beginning, we back? Well, guess what? He's back. No, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the Phantom. The Phantom of the Opera. In sleep he sang to me.
That's the one.
In dreams he came.
All right, that's enough of that.
So, as we all heartbreakingly know, we lost the Phantom in 2023. Its 30-year reign on Broadway ended when the show closed down. But in 2024, the year of our Lord, Phantom is back, sort of. The Phantom of the Opera, Andrew Lloyd Webber's Phantom of the Opera, will be making a return in the form of, and I shit you not, a VR roller coaster in Germany.
Woo!
So,
sign me up.
So in the spring, at their I think it's called what's this park called?
Oh,
hang on. Let me get the actual name. I don't want to be spitting out false facts here. Okay, so in Europa-Park.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I got it right. In Europa-Park, they announced that they have a VR roller coaster, which is, the title of that is kind of misleading because it's an actual roller coaster called Eurosat, but there's another Eurosat that's like a roller coaster, and this one's the same exact track, but to differentiate it, they put like VR headsets and like they retheme the ride that way.
But you are wearing a VR headset on a roller coaster.
Yeah. So they have this new VR roller coaster called Eurosat Coastility, the Phantom of the Opera, and they put out a trailer for it on their social media, and I'm sitting here watching it. And
well, here's the thing, because you read the description of it, and it was like based on the book. So I was like, oh, this is like, because the book is super fucking old, and I mean that's what the musical is based on. So I was like, oh, they're just using the same source material.
Right. So we're watching watching the trailer, and it's very Batman-esque actually. You know, the Phantom is fucking hopping from rooftop to rooftop.
I love that guy.
And the whole thing's black and white. It's like noir.
Like dramatic music is playing in the background,
and like it's like kind of like
ethereal.
Not ethereal, but like it's very dark.
Yeah,
it's very gritty, right? Not that gritty, but a different gritty. And then they're getting to like these people walk in, they put on the VR headsets and they're in the opera house or whatever, and then the Phantom starts his fuckery, flips a switch, and you hear bam, 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 bam. You hear Andrew Lloyd Webber's iconic theme for the Phantom of the Opera, and we just went, wait, it's the musical?
So I was in the bathroom putting on my makeup, and John was out here just watching it on his phone, and when I heard the music, it was like, I can only equate it. I think I said it at the time. I was like, it's like when Edge came back after 9 years of like, that's what it was to me in my heart, hearing the Phantom of the Opera music that I know and love in that commercial.
So let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, I love musicals, obviously. And I love this musical in particular. But like, what were the conversations that led up to being like, hey, you know what would be really cool? And it's in the springtime. It's not even in like, you know, the spooky season.
And it should be.
Maybe it will be. But it's just like, what a random collaboration.
It is so bizarre. Like, I can't really think of anything else. Does any other, because like when you hear the music, you're like, oh, okay, we're not just going off the book. This is the musical.
Right.
Are there any other rides that you can think of, thrill or not, based off of a hit Broadway musical? Because I don't think.
There's the Spider-Man ride in Universal.
That does not count. You know it. That does not count.
You said a hit Broadway musical.
I said a hit.
No, I don't know.
It's so... Imagine if there was like a Rent dark ride at Disney World. Oof. Yeah, that'd be bleak. Oof. Rent is a sad show.
Most musicals would be really bleak or just like inappropriate to do.
Phantom of the Opera's, I wouldn't call it appropriate. But it is spooky.
And it's kind of cool.
It can be scary. I can see it being thrilling. Is the Phantom chasing us? I might not want to run. Oh. You know?
Is it Ramin?
Is it Sorry, we can't do that.
Yeah, is it Ramin?
Is it Ramin?
So like
hit the brakes. I don't want to run from that.
Yeah. I mean, it could be kind of cool because he has his whole lair, so maybe it's like you're in his lair just in a fucking boat going around. I don't know.
Oh my god, are we going to be in a speedboat?
A fucking speedboat?
There's just so many possibilities. You know what? I'm really excited for the POVs to come out of this because, you know, theme park enthusiasts love to post a roller coaster POV. I'm so excited.
There was a bit of a press release that I'm trying to read, although you got to remember a lot of it's in German.
I was going to say, is it in German?
But I think there's enough of a translation out there that I can get through it. So described as, quote, the mystery and intrigue of this gripping love story coupled with the thrill of a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
The mystery and intrigue of this gripping love story.
Yeah.
With the thrill of a roller coaster ride. Well, let me tell you right now, the last 15 minutes of that show in and of itself is a roller coaster ride of emotions.
Truly.
For me. The first time I watched it, buckets of tears.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Phantom is not a good guy. He's a very bad guy.
I know that. But
and he knows that. And Christine knows that.
It's a matter of nature and nurture, you know? What if he was loved? What if
he was and he still ended up murdering people?
Then that's nature.
We'll never know because we only have the one version of him.
The world showed no compassion to him.
The world forgot, but I never could. Anyway,
I wonder how much of the music will be featured throughout the ride. I'm guessing just the one.
Oh my god! What else would fucking be in it?
Masquerade
would be fun. Oh my gosh!
Is there a queue? Will there be a virtual queue that you can walk through?
Queue?
That'd be kind of cool.
Virtual queue. You have to wear a headset through it.
You have to wear a headset on the fucking ride.
That's fine because that's just the ride. You want me to walk around in a VR headset? Think before you talk, John.
If it's a single pathway, yeah, you can
Single
wear
and pathway.
you can wear a VR headset from start to finish.
I don't think they're gonna take the liability risk of putting people in VR headsets and having them walk.
Anyway, I'm just
Have you
saying
seen
it's
that
not.
woman who was in a VR headset and she ran straight into her oven and broke the glass on her oven? Hilarious. You've
No, I
got to
haven't
watch
heard
it.
about
Hilarious. Anyway, or that other woman who was wearing a VR headset driving her car, but it wasn't like a self-driving car. It was a normal car. And then
Okay.
she crashed her car.
Okay, I think there's a big difference between a person willingly putting on a VR headset, getting in a fucking car, than someone in a line
Well,
where you
yes.
can't go anywhere.
No, I know. Now I'm just thinking of examples of times I've seen people wearing VR headsets out in the wild, and it doesn't end very well for them.
But yeah, I mean, well, even though a themed queue, virtual or not, could be really cool.
Yeah.
It could also be
not
very scary.
virtual. It would be. Yeah. Here's the thing about Phantom of the Opera.
At his core,
He's a little spooky little guy. He's a spooky, creepy man.
yeah,
And a murderer. Mustn't we forget. If they lean in real heavy
more
to
monster than man.
if they lean in really heavy to the murder aspect of the Phantom, he's so multifaceted. He's a songwriter, an architect, or whatever the fuck else.
A magician, a smoothed out player from the streets who knows how to get his.
Why could he like a little bit do magic? Anyway, he's also like 30,000 years old or whatever the fuck.
He made those big fireballs come up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was in that mirror. How did he do that?
He disappeared in that chair.
Yeah, he did. Why was he a little bit magic? See, if they lean into like the magic murderer, this is the Phantom of the Opera, the magic murderer. If they lean into that, it'll be fucking scary. Like maybe I wouldn't want to ride it. However, I think we should look into when it's going to open, how much tickets are to fly to Germany, how much it costs to get into the park.
I would love to go to Germany.
I would love to go to Germany. But more than that, I would love to ride a Phantom of the Opera
Wie
VR
geht's?
roller coaster.
Guten Morgen, Phantom of the Opera, please.
Excuse me, one for Phantom of the Opera roller coaster, please. It's all I'm here for. And maybe schnitzel or something.
Ooh, and some beer.
Sure.
Beer.
I don't like beer.
I don't either, but I would drink
There's
it there.
that one grapefruit one from Germany.
Schaffhofer. That's a German beer.
We're set.
We're set. Yeah, I think
need a credit
now I'm
card.
just thinking of other Phantom themed things they could do. Like I would love to see
Phantom of the Opera.
bumper carts.
No, like a Hollow Scream, or what's the other one at Universal?
Halloween Horror Nights, but it's
like
a Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, because they do like
a
the haunted
walkthrough.
houses.
Yeah,
Phantom of the Opera.
that see that makes sense.
But there's a bunch of different phantoms in there, right? To like pop out and spook you. But
Like in the show.
they all have like the mask on, the half mask, the full mask that was never used but is on the playbill for whatever reason. Well, they couldn't use it because of the microphone. But anyway, they could be in any mask that they want, and then they're like super like muscular, and then they have no shirt on.
Oh. Now what if the last one has no shirt on and he's like ripped like a fucking Caesar salad, right?
That's fine.
Shredded like a Caesar salad.
Ripped like how I rip into my Caesar salad. Shut the fuck up.
But he has to have the mask off, and you see that fucked up side of his face.
Oh.
I'm only saying it that way because one, he's a fictional character, and two, he's a murderer.
Yeah, really, we can say, well, but he's also magic, so he might show up and just blast us with fire.
So, hot, sexy man, Phantom face.
That's what we have in the show.
Some would argue that
That is
Gerard
wrong.
Butler's
Excuse me?
Phantom was still sexy with the mask off.
Well,
I guess that depends if you think he's sexy in the first place.
I guess he's not bad. I haven't seen it in a long time because I watched it once and I was like, this is ass.
Yeah, the
I
movie's
never
not
watched it again.
great. Don't love the movie.
Listen, we could talk about Phantom of the Opera for hours, guys. We could talk about Phantom of the Opera for hours.
But anyway, I'm just saying. But I think that makes sense. A haunted house like walkthrough. Because then
shirtless
you can
men.
you can start doing other musicals.
Masks.
You could do
Shirtless men.
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd would be like genuinely scary.
Yeah, I know. A Sweeney Todd walkthrough. That'd be.
But they all have to sing. You can't just have part of it. If you want to have the hee hee ha ha fun of the scary parts of Sweeney Todd, you have to pay homage to the musical aspect of it, and you need to sing the songs.
Yeah.
You don't get it for free.
You could do, I mean, it would be kind of crazy. Like, you're walking through and like one of the scenes you see is fucking Sweeney to someone putting him down that chair.
We get to go down the chair slope.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Shoot. Yeah. That's the first part of a roller coaster. You go down the chute.
You get your fucking throat slit and you have to go down.
Well, maybe we're like escaping him. We can think up the story. We don't have to get our throats slit.
I mean, it would be like red flashing lights. You wouldn't actually get your throat slit.
You're moving my camera quite a lot.
Sorry. You could do a little shop one. That'd be fun.
That would be like a fun spooky one.
Until you see the plant eating people.
That could be fun depending on the people.
Our governor. Anyway, let's move on.
I didn't say it.
Anyway, very excited. We'll keep you all updated on anything more we hear about.
About the Phantom of the Opera roller coaster.
I want a Newsies ride. I want a Newsies coaster.
The fuck? Hurry! You have to deliver these papers to this other borough fast.
You got to get to Brooklyn.
You are penniless and you sleep on the street.
Flying by the seat of your pants. Anyway, sorry. I'm just saying. We're doing one musical segment here. I want to see how many references I can get.
Cram as much in.
Yes.
As you can.
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway, what else is there to talk about? Oh, so over the last few weeks, the world of Marvel's been relatively quiet because they don't have a lot happening this year. For I would say for better, but
yeah,
for worse or for better, they don't have anything. They don't have much happening in the form of like the MCU proper, right? Or movies. I'll just say it that way, right? Except for Deadpool and Wolverine, which we have slated for the summer. I think there's for a reason for that. So they're focusing a lot on bringing the X-Men back. In X-Men 97, they just announced a slew of new comics or reviving comic titles. So they're going all in with the X-Men, including Deadpool and Wolverine, right? So it's a big year for the X-Men. But I think part of why they're staying so quiet and part of this like restructuring they're doing behind closed doors is that there's a rumor that Marvel is actually, it's not even a rumor. There's been comments by what's his name? Bob Iger. He's basically said some of those projects have been canceled.
Yeah.
Because they're really focusing on quality over quantity. So
which is a criticism that they have received for years.
Right. But now, and again, we're not going to focus too much on this. Now, some of the backlash from the fans is that Marvel's learning the wrong lesson by canceling certain projects. So some projects are being, rumored about, and nothing's been confirmed.
Yeah.
But one big title that's come up is a sequel to Eternals. And if this is true, I mean, yes, as a fan, just a general Marvel Studios fan, like you don't want to hear about anything being canceled.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think if you're going to slow down, you got to remember, in between 2020 and 2023, they were releasing
a lot.
3 movies a year and up to maybe 4 shows a year. That's a lot of content to just churn out. Kevin Feige is one man trying to make it all happen.
Well, no, there's a lot of people making it all happen.
What I mean is that I'm not discrediting all the artists who work on these projects. Don't look at me like that. Like
I didn't mean artists. I meant like executives making decisions. Well, I don't think it's just him.
No, because that's the whole thing with Bob Iger is basically like his reaction to Captain Marvel underperforming wasn't about the strikes like it should have been, but his reaction was that there weren't enough executives and producers in the room making sure things were going well. So I think they let Marvel do their thing, but they were also expecting so much content to be churned out. Again, I don't fucking know, but if I'm what I mean by Kevin Feige is one person is that he is sort of the creative overseer, right? He's the executive producer of all of these things. There was just no way for him to be involved in everything. So I don't think he was involved in everything. I think his name's on everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, Bob Iger has basically come out and said that they are focusing on quality over quantity. So I think everything falls in line. And I think a canceling of projects kind of was expected at this point. But it's interesting to think about what titles it could be. Mm-hmm. Because some we've been hearing about for years, and there's been like little to no movement. Mm-hmm. So one has to wonder if it's even going to happen now. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's, I don't know. This might seem like really, I don't know how to say it. Like fan girly, fanboy-y to say. But I trust the people making the stuff to make the decision most of the time.
Right.
Make the best decision most of the time. They know far more than I or anyone who doesn't like work there
Right.
will ever know. So if there's deeper reasons behind things being canceled, I trust them to make that decision. Also, I know that nothing is ever truly written off completely. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't want to make an Eternals 2 right now. That doesn't mean that won't change in the future. Just like this is a change, if these rumors are to be believed. I also think that they have been dealing with a lot of backlash from different channels. So you have like the people who for years have been saying like Marvel fell off after Phase 4 or whatever. Which is kind of, it's like they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. Right? So they tried to start setting up this next big phase because we finished a big story. They're trying to set up for it, and then they pushed out too much stuff too quickly. That is 100% a fair criticism.
Absolutely.
Because we could all tell, they could tell, as they're trying to set this up, okay, some things aren't working, right? So now they're stripping that back. They're getting backlash again for doing what everyone wanted them to do. What we want them to do, which is to take their time and go slowly. Don't push out stuff just to push stuff out. Also, Eternals didn't do so hot in the beginning, so I'm like, that doesn't surprise me if they're like, maybe let's not make a second one, because everyone trashed that movie.
Right.
And also, the person that was going to have a huge impact on this whole next like 2 phases isn't part of it anymore.
Right.
So it would make complete sense to me if those things got maybe not canceled completely, but maybe put off to be reworked. Right. Possibly. They might not be using Kang as a character at all going forward. I wouldn't do that. But I mean, I would recast.
You would recast? Or
yeah.
You would not recast?
I would.
Oh, interesting.
If they wanted to keep the Kang storyline stuff, even though they really shot themselves in the fucking foot by having him in so much already, I think there are ways that you could cleverly write yourself out of it to be a different person.
Yeah, but I still think that, I mean, this is a whole separate conversation, but I still think that and I mean, my opinion isn't more right or more wrong than anyone else's. Personally, I feel like they should move on from Kang, because I just think the baggage with
it's just too much.
With Jonathan Majors it's just too much. I think no matter who they cast in it, you're gonna hear Jonathan Majors recast.
Yeah, and I completely get that too.
Right.
But that's the thing. It's like I don't know how much of this setup that we've gotten is like it needs to be told in that kind of story.
Right.
Could it be a different big bad
right.
that we're dealing with? I don't know. I don't know what their plans were, so who's to say? But like that's something that I would fully understand. So when I hear like they're canceling projects, that's the first thing I thought of was all the
Right.
Kang stuff, and I'm like, that's okay.
And maybe that's the case. Maybe that's not.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see why when I saw people getting really upset about Eternals 2, and I'm like, where were y'all when that movie came out? Where were y'all when the Marvels came out?
Well,
So, yeah.
the Eternals thing is just, it's so bizarre to me that everyone's so mad about Eternals 2. Which, I mean, I would be mad about not having an Eternals 2 because I like the Eternals.
Right.
You like the Eternals.
Yeah.
It took me a while to like it, but I do like it. So, like, but everyone was so loud about how bad that movie was when it came out.
And that's the thing is like I don't think people, they will eventually. You might even start to see it now in some ways. But like phases 4 and 5 have, you take the good with the bad, right? But like if nothing else, I think they really swung for the fences for a lot of these. We got a lot of different types of shows. And a lot of different types of movies, and just like they played with genre, they played with tone, they played with style, and I appreciate. I mean, a long time ago, I don't even think it was called Ringside, but when I said this, but I was thinking about this the other day. Phase 4 and 5 are kind of like Marvel's getting weird phase. Like they just tried a bunch of new, weird,
really
quirky things.
Do you remember Werewolf by Night?
Werewolf by Night was
What
awesome.
the hell was that? I mean, it was great, but like, where did that come from?
Right. And just like one of my favorite style, like just stylistically, one of my favorite shows, Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel was great.
It was so good. And like you could, did I have my favorite antagonist in the MCU? No. But just the show itself and what they did with the characters and how they made me feel about this family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's so good. Anyway, so what projects I hope to still see. I hope they're not gonna, again, this is unconfirmed. We don't know that they're canceling what they're canceling, right? But I really don't want them to cancel Blade. That's the one I've been thinking about the most. Because
I'm like, I haven't heard anything about Blade in a long time. And the stuff that I heard previous to not hearing anything was not good stuff.
Yeah. What the thing and I don't think this will happen because I think Marvel is smarter and is better than this. I just don't want there to be a bunch of canceled projects that would have predominantly featured characters of color, actors of color, or different religious identities, sexual identities, anything of the sort.
Yeah.
So that's where my brain is and my heart is. I don't want them to cancel those projects. So we'll see. From other things I've heard, I think one of the producers talked about how Ironheart and Wonder Man they're in post-production, which is good because that means, okay, cool, Ironheart's still happening. Is Armor Wars happening? They changed it to a movie. Haven't heard shit about it since.
Yeah.
So the last time we saw Rhodey, that project wasn't received so hot because the project was bad.
Because it was bad, yeah. Yeah, but then also like, I don't know. I the only thing that I can do and that I encourage other people to do is to just be patient and remember that it's all for funsies.
Right.
It's not like if Blade doesn't get made, it's the end of the world. It would suck ass.
Right.
It'd be disappointing, but we'd all get over it.
I'd rather wait a little longer for a Blade movie.
Done right.
Right.
And same with like an Armor Wars or anything like that. Like, it's all for funsies. And also, I think we all knew when we saw that initial like phase 4 and 5 or whatever we saw timeline laid out, that was not going to be
possible
or like what we would end up getting.
Right.
The timing was going to change. Projects weren't going to happen. But yeah, so
yeah, but I still think there's so much to look forward to in the MCU. I'm really looking forward to X-Men 97. I'm looking forward to Deadpool and Wolverine. If you haven't watched Echo, go watch Echo. That show is awesome. Daredevil. I mean, like, there's still so much coming over the next year and a half.
Yeah.
That there's nothing to worry about just yet. There's nothing to worry about at all.
Yeah, we'll be okay.
We'll be fine.
But how fine will we be? That's the question.
And yeah, I'm excited because then next year I think next year's gonna be really exciting. We're getting more Marvel. We're gonna get the official start of James Gunn's DCU. So I think we're eating good next year. So just be patient. We have some really tasty hors d'oeuvres coming up.
In the meantime, if you want content that is always available, that year round has new episodes, if you want like 10 hours of new content every week, might I suggest getting into wrestling, because that shit doesn't stop. You want excess, you want content,
you want a fan base that can be either as beautiful or as toxic. Get into wrestling. Also, just throwing this out there, if y'all want to see some content revisiting the MCU from its inception to now, let us know. That could be fun, doing some sort of rewatches and rankings. Anyway, we'll talk about it.
Sounds like a lot of my time, quite frankly.
Like, you don't already fucking rewatch those movies all the time. Sometimes without me. Most of the time without me.
Most of the time without you. I usually watch them while I'm working.
Anyway. But speaking of wrestling, so the last edition of Friday Night Smackdown was one for the books, one for the ages. I loved it. So we start out with the great one, the electrifying one, the final boss. The Rock comes out. We saw him last week as well, and he had this new fancy intro, very Dragon Ball Z inspired. R.I.P.
With a bunch of lightning.
But something people have been calling for ever since he's turned heel is what we got. We got the return, a slightly remixed version of his classic 2003 Hollywood Rock theme, his final boss theme. I thought it was awesome. I freaked out, and Kendra didn't quite know why I was freaking out so much.
Yeah, because, okay, so I remember a while ago when we started to realize, like, oh, he's really, like, being a heel.
Right.
This time around. We were listening to his intro music, and you were like, oh, well, sometimes they, like, change their music when they go heel. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that.
Kind of saw it with the Judgment Day a little bit.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Yeah, like Finn's music changed and stuff. Ray Ripley's music changed. Yeah, fair enough. So, like, the next time we watched it, it was the same music, but a different, like, video package background. Right. And then last week, I was like, ooh, it's this fun new song. Like, I love it. And you were like, oh my God, you were freaking out. I thought it was just a new version of that song. I didn't realize it had historical ties until you told me about it. No, you don't even understand. This is from his Hollywood Rock era. And I was like, oh, I just like this song.
Yeah, well, Hollywood Rock
good one.
Was a fucking menace.
And I'm experiencing it now.
Yeah, well, we'll have to go back and watch some Hollywood Rock classics. But yeah, it was so cool. And then he makes his way to the ring, and I'm like, is that a fucking music stand? Because again, back in 2003, he would often bring his guitar out. There are several wrestlers that went through a guitar phase. Stone Cold was one of them. The Rock was one of them.
I remember Stone Cold serenading Vince McMahon.
Here's the thing. The Rock can somewhat hold a tune and somewhat play the guitar. Stone Cold could do neither.
Do either. Ah, bless him.
Yeah, so he comes out and there's a music stand, there's a stool set up, and he goes on to sing this song that I assume, I would like to think he wrote it. He, along with Lin-Manuel Miranda, wrote this song about Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins.
Lin was a ghostwriter.
I mean, it was just such a nostalgic act. But you know what's the craziest part? The more he leans into the heel thing, just like every other time, the more over he gets with the crowd. That crowd, like, you could almost say he was doing his babyface gimmick with the Memphis crowd. Just the way they were so into. He was telling the crowd, like, it's very different than the last couple weeks we saw, where he's calling them crackhead Karens and telling someone to shut their fat mouth or whatever. I
forgot about that. Oh, that's good.
Or called someone a fatty.
That wasn't as good.
But he was telling people, I love you too. And like,
I appreciate it.
So I bring all this up because then he did lay a scathing promo to Cody Rhodes. A couple interesting things to take away from that. I saw one guy on TikTok. I think his name is Tyler Suplex. So shout outs to Tyler. He was saying that basically it almost kind of feels like the main event of WrestleMania is actually Cody Rhodes and The Rock.
Yeah, that's what it's starting to feel like.
It's what it's starting to feel like, which is, it's very, very interesting to me. If that's what ends up happening. I don't think that's just going to happen. Unless it does. I don't know how they would get to that.
Yeah, and then, I mean, it would be a good way for Roman to retain while still giving Cody Rhodes and his whiny fan base
Right.
A main event solo match. But that's not finishing your story. That's adding another chapter. That's stapling in extra pages to your story because you're not winning any kind of championship.
Right. So yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen, but it does feel like it's more The Rock versus Cody Rhodes right now.
Yeah.
But one other thing I thought was very interesting was that when it's starting. When Roman's not around is when The Rock is more like the old babyface Rock that we know.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't want to be disrespectful.
And so I think one interesting part of the story here between Rock and Roman is now that maybe Roman feels like The Rock is kind of usurping his fans, quote unquote.
Oh.
You know?
I don't know. I don't know how they're going to play The Rock and Roman Reigns stuff because
that's his tribal chief.
That's the tribal chief, but like I don't know, they're now set up in a very interesting position.
Yeah.
As allies. And I was not anticipating that happening.
Because they're family.
Because Ohana means family.
That's right.
So I don't know how they're gonna break apart. Like what's gonna happen?
There's
that happen.
And I don't know. I know I've been really touting this whole like, Seth's gonna turn on Roman. Roman. He's already done that, bastard. That's all he knows how to do. He's gonna turn on Cody. But yeah, that's why I'm wondering if like The Rock being there when Roman's not there. Like, why are you on my show without me? Mm-hmm. You know, sort of thing. So I'm wondering when we'll start to see the cracks form there. If we'll start to see the cracks form there.
I think we will. I think we have to.
Right.
Because
we got to set up their match.
Huh?
We got to set up their match.
Whose match?
Rock and Roman.
When do you expect that to be happening? Next
Eventually.
Year?
Huh?
I don't know.
I think we'll get their match one day. I
don't know how long we're getting The Rock. I can never listen. Every time I say The Rock's coming, he doesn't come. Every time I'm like, The Rock's back, he doesn't stay. I don't trust that man.
I think he'll be here through WrestleMania, and then I think he'll be back.
Yeah.
I think he'll be back eventually I think he'll be back for one more like actual like main event. I could be wrong. This could be his last.
That's what I thought this was gonna be, and it's not. So I don't know. Again, I don't want to get my hopes up. I don't want to get my hopes up again to be crushed by The Rock again.
Well, I think breaking away from the kayfabe. Mm-hmm. I think him being on the board and him being involved was a big part of that Netflix deal.
Oh yeah.
So I think we'll see him again.
Think we'll see him again?
Yeah.
I would love for him to take over as like
the Mr. McMahon role.
Mr.
Mr. McMahon.
Mr. Rock.
Sorry. Mr. Rock.
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson.
I would love a Mr. Johnson, and he's just like there, and I get to see him every week. I love The Rock.
I do too.
But he's also like so fucking busy. I don't know if you guys know this, but he's got so much. He's got skincare. He's got energy drink. He got football.
Tequila. And he's got an acting career. Actually, I think
clothing line.
I think I heard his that A24 movie he's working on. Mm-hmm. I think they start filming in May, so That's why we'll get him through WrestleMania, and then he'll fuck off for a few months. And
he's like, I gotta go.
Yeah, he'll go film and do press for all the 1,000,000,001 things he's doing.
Yeah, he's crazy.
And then he'll come back for probably WrestleMania next year.
We'll see.
At least I think he'll be around. I think that's probably. Oh, actually, no, I'm getting tired. But yeah, I could definitely see him coming around in like international events, like the big events.
I mean, we'll see.
We'll see. Do they need him for all that? No, wrestling is super.
Wrestling has more than one royal family.
Oh my god. But I don't know. I really loved his segment on Smackdown.
Loved it. It was so fun.
Apparently, a lot of what he said was what he said on Instagram. You know what? I really appreciate what he's been doing, and I don't think enough people are paying attention to it. So he's been doing these like really long promos on social media, Instagram, TikTok, things like that, right? And those are very uncensored. So if you're someone who's like, WWE's like blah 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 blah, if you really want like a raw, unfiltered, go watch those. They're funny. It's basically the same thing he says on TV, just longer
and with cusses
and with a lot more cussing. But I was thinking about this, and I'm like, The Rock has such a huge social media like presence and following. Because I know some people who like stream and like react to him, like, oh, he's just saying the same thing he said online. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that's on purpose. And that like sounds like, oh well, duh, but he has such a big social media presence and just following. I'm like, he is probably also appealing to people who are fans of his, but not necessarily fans of wrestling.
Yeah, people who don't watch wrestling,
but see it and they're like, what the fuck is he talking
about?
The
Rock is pissed at some guy named Cody.
So I'm like, oh man, it's like to me that's such a genius move. I mean, Logan Paul does. I hate to give him credit for anything, but he does sort of the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. But like, man, he has such a broad appeal to such a broad audience, you know? So yeah, I love everything. So again, I'm biased. I've been such a big Rock fan since I was a kid. So,
yeah.
But also wondering what's going on with Bayley's story. Had a pretty good match with Dakota Kai.
Yeah, for not getting very much time.
Right.
Thanks The Rock.
I don't think that was his fault.
I blame The Rock. Anyway, they did have a really good match. Dakota Kai's still in that recovery window for me where I'm scared every time she does anything. Unfortunately, I'm scared every time she does anything. But she was fine.
Damage Control came and fucked shit up.
John called it.
Naomi tried to help.
Yeah.
You know who's not coming back to help Bayley?
Yeah.
Sasha Banks. Yeah. Hey, congratulations on the bag. Congratulations on the bag, Sasha Banks. Mm-hmm. You'll always be Sasha Banks in here. And in here.
Congratulations on the bag.
She'll do fine over there.
Is that guy still there?
Edge?
No. The one who like did a bunch of bad stuff.
Chris Jericho?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still there? Mm-hmm. Still making money? That's where you went?
But yeah, so very excited. The road to WrestleMania has been on fire. It feels like a big thing coming up. So at least for me, I'm super excited about WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's a big thing coming up. We're getting closer and closer.
I know, and I feel it's cool because like the last few WrestleMania since we've been watching mm-hmm. have felt like, really big. Mm-hmm. So saw that they randomly, I don't know if it was Raw or SmackDown last week, where they brought back like those 8K cameras for the championship match.
Oh yeah.
I want to see those for the WrestleMania entrances.
I think that was Raw.
Anyway, I would love to see those brought back. Anyway, that's a whole other thing talking about leading up to WrestleMania. But for today, I think that's going to wrap up.
Yeah. It's 10 p.m. I'm tired and I want a cookie.
All right. Well, I guess we'll just fucking leave that part in.
What?
I wasn't going to tell everyone that you were tired.
Oh.
They can see it.
They can see it. Sorry, guys. Can you see the bags in my eyes?
their designer.
Jesus Christ.
If you're not already, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that follow button, wherever you can subscribe and or follow. Do it. All the socials. Do it. Do it right now.
Perez Periodico.
At Perez Periodico.
It's spelled like that if you don't know how to spell.
Yeah.
I know that's a struggle for some of the younger generation. It's right down there. Just click the keys on the keyboard that look similar to these letters in this order. And
Yeah.
that's it, baby. You're typing.
And that's it. You're writing. You're reading and you're writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not already, please follow and subscribe. Check us out. I can't even talk anymore.
Check us out. Check us in.
Like a hotel, baby. And we'll be back very soon with more things for you and me.
My God, he's delirious.
All right, y'all. We're out of here.
Bye.
Peace.